So I end up talking to him, and we, have become climbing friends. And like after a couple of climbing days together, he goes, "Oh, by the way, this is my girlfriend." I'm like, "What?" I am Alex Anders, and this is the bisexual. I gotta get this right. It's the bisexual author romance vlog. I need more practice with that. Clearly, I need to do more videos. So, in this vlog, I'm gonna be talking about three things. First of all, I'm going to be talking about some new phrases I have. I've decided I'm going to stop saying certain words and start saying other words, and I'm hoping they'll catch on, and I'm hoping you'll like it because they're words that need to be made, that need to be invented, and I have. Secondly, I'm going to be talking about my disastrous book and what I'm going to be doing about it, and thirdly, I'm going to talk about my search for love because has it made progress? Well, we'll talk about this in a second. Okay, so first, I want to talk about some new words that need to have been created, and I have. Okay, so as you all may or may not know, I am not a fan of the word queer. If you identify as queer, that is wonderful. And I completely support you, and you have to because you need to be able to embrace who you are. But all bisexuals are not queer. In fact, and I've done a video on this, only a tiny percentage of people who are bisexual identify as queer, like a tiny, tiny percentage. So for a queer person to say that all bisexuals are queer is just not right. So there needs to be a word, though, that refers to people not in terms of their gender expression or gender identity, but more about just their sexual orientation. And I would like to be able to refer to bisexuals and gay people as what they are as opposed to something they're not. Like I usually say not straight. And not straight is okay, it's like describing someone as a negative. It's like someone saying someone is not white. Like it's just not cool. So there needs to be another word. And I came up with another word which I will be using from this point forward, just so you know. And that word is bi-gay. That's right. The word is bi-gay. So whenever I'm referring to someone who isn't straight, I will say they are bi-gay. Why? Because it's the word bi and the word gay, which in this case I'm referring to both male and females, like lesbians and gay males. So from now on, if you hear me say the word bi-gay, that is what I'm referring to. And isn't that super convenient? It's it expresses exactly what it is. There's no question. Bi-gay? Oh, bi-gay. Oh, I get it. Isn't that great? So from now on, I'll be using the term bi-gay exclusively. And also, I was talking to a fellow bisexual recently, and I mentioned something about the spectrum, bisexual spectrum, and the person said, you know what? But spectrum always sounds like it's autistic. Like autistic spectrum is the spectrum. If someone's on the spectrum, you mean that they are on the autistic spectrum. So there really should be something separate for the sexual orientation spectrum. And we spitballed some ideas, and we came up with the term spread. They're on the spread. So from now on, instead of saying spectrum, I'm going to be saying spread. And instead of saying non-straight, I'm going to be saying bi-gay. Bi-gay is a fun word. Bi-gay. They're bi-gay. It's like a baguette, but bi-gay. So those are what I'm going to be saying. So when I say it, you'll know what I'm saying. So that's that. Second thing is my book, my disastrous book. So I've basically had nothing but bisexual romance bestsellers for the past year and some 2 years. And now this. Last week I talked about it having an Amazon ranking of 93,000. This week it's at 99,000. So it's just getting worse. It's just getting worse. And I was watching a couple of videos on marketing. I was going to let it go because, just move on to the nenext book. Just move on. But I've already recorded the audiobook for Aladdin's Jasmine. It'd be very helpful if this book just kind of didn't fail, because it's a good book. The reviews are coming in on the book. People are really liking the book. And it might be that people are just not interested in another Aladdin story. And I think that's maybe why almost every review I have is first starting out with, this is not your children's Aladdin. I think that might be because people are going into it thinking, oh, this is just another Aladdin story. But no, this is very, very different from the Aladdin story, Disney's Aladdin sort of thing. But I think there's life there if people were just willing to check it out. So there's my marketing is usually I price my books on Amazon for 99 cents, and I allow the result of that to like kind of place itself on the also bought list of other bestsellers and place itself on the new release bestsellers list and stuff like that, and then ultimately climb up the bestsellers list. But it didn't happen with this, so I think I need to go to step 2, which is before I started, like when I first started writing bisexual romance, I had to figure out a way to introduce myself to the bisexual romance readership. And I just released the books, and they just kind of like, they like, you know, didn't go anywhere. They sold like 2 copies a copy every 2 days or so. And then I came up with the idea because I used to create movie trailers for Disney Channel, for video game companies, for other Disney companies. And I know that no movie would ever be released without doing a trailer first. So I thought, okay, well, why isn't there something like this for books? And I thought, okay, well, there are descriptions for books, but there's also a description for movies. What makes a movie trailer a movie trailer? And I thought, well, okay, well, what it does is it's something that is kind of representative of the movie that you show to your audience for free, and then they get to see the main characters, they get to see the main thrust of the story. So if it's an action movie, they get to see a lot of explosions, and say, on these explosions you would want to like pay $15 to go see in a movie theater sort of thing. So, like, it's a book that has those things, or it's a trailer that has those things, introduces the character, introduces the main thrust of the story, and also, like, the special effects, or the kissing, or the humor, or whatever it is. So, I wanted to create something for books that's the equivalent of a movie trailer, something I can give away for free, and that would sell the potential readers on buying the book. So, what I came up with was book prequels. So, for a long time, for every book I wrote a prequel afterwards, which was a book for the story that took place from the moment before my main book, started, and it showed the main characters, like it introduced you to the main characters you'll be reading about in the book you'll pay for. It will show you like the storyline, the basic structure of the book, my storytelling technique, and also, like, because I write romances, it'll show you the type of sex that you will get, or the type of romance you'll get in the main story, and that's all for free. And then the prequel will end on like almost a cliffhanger, which is resolved in the first moment of the book that you pay for. And that actually, when I started doing that, was when my books finally started getting ground. And I've been able to use those prequels as great marketing tools. In fact, in order to boost my book, Until Your Toes Curl, which is an anthology of all of my bisexual romances, in order to boost the ranking of that, on Tuesday, I released all the prequels which were included for that book as a separate book, and I'm going to offer that for free in order to juice the rankings of the main book. So that's something I decided I'm going to do for Aladdin's Jasmine, and hopefully that works. So this week I came up with a plot for it, which I actually really like. It's a really exciting story. And I started writing it on Friday, and I hope I'll be done with it in 2 days. So hopefully on Tuesday I'll be done with it. I'll edit it on Wednesday and on Thursday, and I'll release it on Friday. And hopefully it rescues the book, because hopefully it rescues Aladdin's Jasmine, because I really want, I really don't want to have a flop. I really want to take advantage of the fact that I've already recorded the audiobook. It's there. I want to do something with it. So if I can get Aladdin's Jasmine on the bestsellers list, I can then release the audiobook, and everything will be happy. And I've had to tighten my belt. This is the first time in years I've had to do that because of all the flops and because of everything that's going on, Amazon deleting my account, and just all the things that have happened. I've had to tighten my belt. So I'm hoping to be able to go back to living life like a normal person soon. So that's my disastrous book story right there. And also, looking for love. So, looking for love. I was looking for love in all the right places, and yet not finding it until the beginning of the story. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I am now kind of obsessed with rock climbing. I always have my sports. I've been out of sport for a while, and it took me a while to find this one. But I am now, and I'm really liking it. And climbing gyms are particularly great places to meet people. In fact, I remember before I started rock climbing at this gym, at any gym, I was looking at like a list of best places to meet people, And on that list, like one of the highest things on that list was rock climbing gyms. You know what? 100% correct. Yes, rock climbing gyms are excellent places to meet single people. It really is. And my gym in particular, and I'm probably, if you join a climbing gym, it'll be the same thing for you. But my gym in particular is very progressive, very LGBT friendly. In fact, my gym has something called Queer Crush, which is a night when people who identify as queer can come and climb together. Kind of cool. And in fact, on Pride Month, in June, my gym had a Pride Festival thing. Now, granted, it did have a drag queen, which I'm never a big fan of. But it was a night where people who, were on supposedly LGBT can come and hang out and meet people. So I was like, yes. And I wore my famously bisexual t-shirt, and I was like, yeah, because I expect at a climbing gym to be disproportionately more bisexual women there. And granted, that might be a stereotype, the same stereotype that makes me think that there would be more gay women on a softball team is the same stereotype and assumptions that I make that makes me think there'd be more bisexual women at a climbing gym. And there are a lot of women there, and I'm certainly meeting them. It's just super hard to tell if they're bi, like everywhere else in life. And I've had some experiences. So in Pride Night, I figured, well, this would be the best opportunity to go and meet women and guys, potentially, because, bisexuals are more likely to come to this event. And I was very disappointed with the situation. Like I met one woman, like I was walking with my t-shirt, and she went, oh, I like your shirt. And I went over and started talking to her. I was like, oh, maybe I could be interested in her, maybe. And then she went, and this is my husband. Now, her husband was clearly gay. I mean, assume he was bi if she's married to him. And he was clearly flirting with me, which made me go, is this an open relationship? Because she's right there, and you're right there, and you're giving me that smile, and you're asking me these questions. Clearly, you are interested. But he wasn't my type, so, And I met this other woman there, and she didn't come because of the Pride Night, but she came and then went, is that a drag queen? Because she really has a thing for drag queens. And also, the two people that she came with were, I assume, are gay. Like, one guy seemed gay to me, and the other guy, I mean, he seemed gay. So we talked. She's cute. She kept on trying to get me to climb with her. In the end, I climbed with her. I asked her for her number. And then I just assumed, okay, then we would get together and do some climbing and stuff like that. But it hasn't happened. She's been injured and stuff like that, and she's been traveling. But it hasn't happened. I'm like, well, that's disappointing. And I've just been looking for love, man. I've even looked at the guys. Like a couple of times, I've told you about the guy that I met last week on that story at the climbing gym who I went out with. Nothing happened there. There have been other guys that I've seen that I've been like, okay, either they're gay or they're bi. Like they seem to be doing something that represents themselves as gay, but they could be bi. So one guy was this guy who wore the shortest shorts I have seen anyone ever in a climbing gym. They're basically like swimming trunks. And he was showing a lot of leg. And he was cute. So I ended up talking to him, and we, have become climbing friends. And after a couple of climbing days together, he goes, oh, by the way, this is my girlfriend. I'm like, what? Okay. Okay. I mean, that does not make him bi, but that was just, I didn't see that coming. I was actually thinking he was leaning more towards gay. But, so now we're all friends, I guess. And then there was another guy who I looked at and went, yeah, that guy is definitely gay. Definitely gay. And maybe even gay. And at one point, I saw him a couple of times. There's one time when I was climbing these routes, and he would climb my route and then go away, and I'd go somewhere else. He'd climb my route and go away. I was like, oh wow, he's just putting himself in front of me. Like if a person was interested in someone, that's what they would do. So a couple of days go by, and I see him again, and this time as he's leaving the gym, I make eye contact with him and smile, and he makes eye contact and leaves. So the next time I'm in the gym, I go and I see him. I start talking to him. We start talking, and we start climbing together and chatting, stuff like that. And after a while he says, and my wife, and I go, is my bidar off? I mean, seriously. So I've just been a little, I've been a little frustrated not being able to meet more bisexuals at the gym. And maybe I am meeting these people. And maybe these people that I'm seeing are bisexuals. It's just, one's married. Well, a couple are married and one's in a relationship. And the other one was, young. And I think, though, like taking the video I just shot a video on Bisexual Real Talk for the first time in months. Am I back? I don't think I am back. But I had to shoot that video so I can talk about this here. Doing that video, the video talked about the reasons why bisexuals are unhappy according to a study. And it's really enlightening. It's really insightful. And part of the thing is that bisexuals are unhappy because of, it's not invisibility per se, but it's because of being involved. Go watch the video. But I think from it, what I'm going to do from now on is I think I'm going to have to be more visually bisexual. And this is not like a genius. This is not like a brilliant idea or a genius idea or anything. Because, the reason why gay people seem so gay is because they want people to know they're gay. Duh. Why? It helps with dating. It helps with life. Like being visible as your identity when you're looking for someone to date is helpful. If you're an in-closet gay person, you're trying to meet other gay people, good luck with that. So if you're a person who is bisexual and bisexual just by nature is like closeted, then, and you want to find bisexuals, you need to be, one of you guys have to be willing to show the other person who they are. So I think that from now on, I absolutely have to figure out a way to better represent myself as bisexual when I'm trying to find people to date. And I think that means that from now on, I need to start presenting myself as more bisexual at the climbing gym. I think that's a must. And I think, obviously I'm not going to present myself as queer because I'm not queer. So I need to figure out ways of just being super bi. So maybe I need to wear like more bi merch. I can't wear this because this will stab me as I'm falling. Maybe I wear my bracelet or something like that. But you shouldn't really wear like any sort of neck and hand things because it could get caught when you're falling, rip your hand off sort of thing, literally. So maybe I just have to like stock up on my bi shirts and stuff like that. But I think I need to, according to the video I just made, I need to figure out how to represent myself as bisexual before anything happens. Like, for example, I matched with a woman on Bumble this morning. And I'm thinking that maybe I should just cut to the chase and figure out whether or not she's okay with me being bi. Because if she's not, then I shouldn't even waste my time. I shouldn't even waste my money on coffee. And I don't think I should be involved with any woman who is like, maybe says to me anything along the lines of maybe I'll be okay with it. I think I should only be involved with women who are already okay with it. I don't want to have to teach anyone because according to the study that was done, which I talked about on the other channel, the most likely cause of a bisexual's distress, like the study just says some horrible things about statistics about bisexuals. And I think that, and it says that some of the cause of that is because of being involved in relationships with people who aren't supportive of your bisexuality. I think that I just need to like eliminate everyone who is not going to be supportive, and only get involved with people who are going to be supportive of my bisexuality, and not even give time to someone who could possibly have a problem with it. Now, granted, I'm gonna have to like tell them, like I'm gonna have to be clear about, because there's assumption about monogamy and stuff like that with bisexuals, and there's other stereotypes. I think I'm gonna have to address the stereotypes and say whether or not I belong to that stereotype or not after I say I'm bi, but I'm going to have to do that. So I think I'm gonna do that moving forward. And I think maybe starting today, I'm gonna start representing myself more as bisexual at the gym, and hopefully that makes a difference. Maybe what it'll do is it'll draw all the closeted bisexuals to me, as opposed to us just being lost, not being able to find each other. What do you think? What do you think about that? I think that's a good idea. How do you represent yourself as bisexual? Do you? Do you at all? Do you think it's important to? Do you think you would have more dating success if you did? Do you think you'd find more people who would be accepting of you if you did represent yourself as bisexual and you were introduced to them? Or do you think that would have scared them away? What are your feelings on this? Let's chat about this, because I think this is something that if we can solve this as a group, we, I think, would be happier as a group. So let's give some thought about this. Let's talk about this. Hey, if you want to represent yourself as bisexual, I have this bisexual t-shirt. I have my famously bisexual t-shirt. I have a lot of other bisexual merch on Amazon. I think this is still one of the best-selling bisexual shirts on Amazon. So I'll put a link to everything in the description below so you can go and check those out. You can check out my lapel pins. And of course, you can check out my books. It's all there. And until the next video, I would like you to stay cooler, my bisexual and reader friends. Stay cooler. Bye.